All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the June 25th, 2024 regular council meeting. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
The record will reflect that Councilmember Blom is currently not here, but is on his way.
All right. If you please stand with me, we're going to have the invocation from Father Steve Salat from Our Lady Queen of Angels, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Avery. Excuse me.
Good afternoon. Let us pray. Lord, we know we are always in your presence, and so we ask you today to watch over our meeting. May we experience calm conversations, mutual respect, profound listening, and creative and just solutions. Now, Lord, I know on a sunny afternoon that that's a big ask, but we ask it anyway because we trust that your grace is always with us. We ask you all this in your name. Amen.
Let's come together for the pledge to our great nation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Father. Now we're going to have a presentation of the proclamation to the Newport Beach Police Department Volunteers in Policing Program. If I could convince Chief Cartwright and Lieutenant Brad Miller to come on forward. This is a fun one. So first off, I'm looking out here and wondering who is watching out for the junior lifeguard program. But I know that Chief and Lieutenant are going to speak to the program. But I just want to say on a personal front, thank you so much. So my daughter is in her third year at JG's. My son is in his first year. And so they actually are watched over by you when they go and come because they are using the ferry. So thank you. And then I talk regularly about the program that our Newport Beach Police Department has to do vacation checks. And I know that all of you have done that. And I'll continue to knock on wood when I say this, but my understanding is we still haven't had a break-in at a home that is signed up for a vacation check. I just did it. Calm down. So anyway, but I just want to say thank you for everything that you do. And I do have a proclamation, but before I read it, Chief Cartwright, the mic is yours.
Good evening, sir, members of the City Council. I'm proud today to represent our Volunteers in Policing program. Definitely one of the huge benefits for the city. This is 24 individuals that volunteer their time free of charge because they love the city. 17 of them are retired. 7 of them work still other vocations, but yet they still volunteer their time. It's 220 years of collective experience, and depending on the workload throughout the year, it's anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000 hours that they volunteer. And a lot of that is annotated in the proclamation, so I want to mention that. But we are so proud to have them here and to be a part of them being recognized for all that they do for the city that they love. So I'll kick it over to Brad Miller.
Thanks, sir. My name is Brad Miller. I'm one of the many officers at the police department who are lucky enough to work with the volunteer program. Mayor O'Neill, council members, I want to thank you for recognizing the value and the importance the volunteers bring to our community. You've heard from Chief Cartwright, and you will soon hear from the proclamation itself, some of the numbers and statistics that highlight the value of the VIP program. But the true importance of the volunteer program is much more intangible than a few numbers and statistics. These people behind me are longtime residents of Newport Beach, some of them living here 20, 30, 40 years, who have been incredibly successful in their own professional lives, who now choose to spend their own free time sharing the wisdom, decision-making, and life lessons with members of the police department and the community. They fill our hallways with smiles, positive words, encouragement, and wisdom. I cannot be more proud to be affiliated with this group, and I'm very honored to be here today to recognize them for their selfless efforts.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation, and then afterward we're going to do a group photo. And since there are quite a few of us, we're going to do it right up here. But before I get there, I'd like to recognize you. So Whereas the Newport Beach Police Department staff's volunteers and policing unit, consisting of 24 local residents who volunteer their time to improve their community. And whereas among their many tasks, the volunteers and policing unit conducts vacation checks of neighborhood homes, conducts high visibility patrols through school parking lots, patrols the beach on bicycles, provides tours of the police department, removes unsightly signage and illegal postings, conducts fire lane and disabled parking enforcement, distributes crime alerts, and performs a multitude of administrative and clerical tasks within the police department. And whereas the current membership of this special unit has totaled over 235 years of volunteer service to the community of Newport Beach. And whereas in 2023, the volunteers and policing unit donated over 4,700 hours of their own time to help improve the safety and beauty of Newport Beach. And whereas in 2023, the volunteers and policing unit conducted 3,804 vacation checks of Newport Beach homes, allowing residents to have peace of mind while vacationing away from home. And whereas the volunteers who make up this unit sacrifice so much through their selfless dedication to their own neighbors. And now, therefore, I, Will O'Neill, Mayor of the City of Newport Beach, on behalf of the entire Newport Beach City Council, do hereby proclaim that the Newport Beach Police Department volunteers and policing unit served honorably and will always be recognized for their dedicated service to the city. Congratulations. So if you all join us up front, we'll come down.
Get in a little closer if you can,
Tighter,
please.
tighter.
Stay there even after this photo. Have more fans.
All right, Madam Clerk.
The City Council of Newport Beach welcomes and encourages community participation. Public comments are generally limited to 3 minutes per person to allow everyone to speak. Written comments are encouraged as well. The City Council has the discretion to extend or shorten the time limit on agenda or non-agenda items.
All right, now is time for City Council announcements and oral reports from City Council and committee activities. Councilmember Kleiman.
No report.
Councilmember Blom.
No report.
Councilmember Avery.
I have none. Thanks.
Councilmember Weigand.
Yeah, just to, for the first time in the history of living here, I went on the trolley this weekend, and I went on both days, Saturday and Sunday, and I actually found it pretty easy to use, and my kids loved it. I got right off where my group of friends were on 30th Street, and we walked right to the beach, right where they were, and I enjoyed it. And then my son and I went to the Newport Pier, and we caught a ride back, and I thought it was pretty darn easy to use. So just giving a plug to the trolley system there for the summertime, Saturday, Sundays, and the 4th of July. So, but I enjoyed that. And then 4th of July, obviously a ton of events in the city, but one that's close to my neighborhood is the Dover Shores Community Parade. I want to thank Sean Levin for helping me organize a city permit to get the little bike parade that we're going to do from usually around in between Commodore and Santiago down Mariners. That ends about at Dover, and then we're going to have a little band in the park and some food trucks. So I'm looking forward to that on the 4th. I know there's a whole host of things in the city, but for me, that's my favorite because it is something I've done my whole life. So that's my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Grant.
Just a few community involvement events. One, I was able to sit in on the Sober Living Task Force that is currently active in all of California, and their plan going forward in the rest of this year is to add more cities throughout the state so that we can gain more exposure and more support for sober living, the requirements that we make on our sober living community. I also was able to participate in our annual Women in Government Luncheon that we have here in the city, and it's been going on for about 20 more years. It was originally thought of by one of our former mayors, Evelyn Hart, who we lost recently, but after she conceived of it, it's had a lot of generations, and it's an opportunity for women on boards and committees and commissions, along with staff, to meet and learn more about each other's roles in the city and how they can facilitate the work of all of those commissions and the staff. I also participated in the FONBIS, the Friends of Newport Beach Animal Shelter annual meeting, and I'm happy to report that they continue to raise quite a bit of money from our community to support our animal shelter, which is wonderful, and they're realizing new ways that they can support the shelter in our city. So we'll continue to have good funding of our shelter from our community. And then two more things. One, the Library Foundation Beyond Books Children's Marketplace happened this weekend at the library, and it was a great opportunity for the kids in our community to get involved at the library and to bring in new parents and new families to support our library and our Beyond Books campaign for our new Civic Hall. And then finally, on Saturday, starting at 1, there is going to be the 57th annual, that's quite a lot of years that this has been going on, the 57th annual Newport Beach Art Exhibition. There's an awards ceremony at 4:30, but the art actually goes on display in the community room at 1 o'clock, and then there'll be a presentation introducing Phase 9 of the sculpture collection in our park. So that's a wonderful opportunity also to see more about what's happening in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I want to start by just saying how incredible it was to be at the junior guard ribbon cutting for the new junior guard building on the peninsula down by the Balboa Pier. I think I was joined by everyone up here. What an incredible moment that was. And then I think all of us were there for the opening day with the junior guards, over 1,400 kids out there. It's quite a thing to see, and congrats to our team for putting that together. I also had an opportunity to go to the Newport Beach Police Foundation golf tournament, so that was a lot of fun, seeing a lot of our police foundation members and sworn officers out there playing some golf, raising some money for good cause. And then I will let the mayor talk about an event we had last night with the Newport Beach Foundation and Sheriff Barnes, where the mayor moderated a discussion on fentanyl that was really well received.
Great, thank you. Also want to point out real quickly, we had a great flag day, so if you saw those flags out in the Civic Center, it was put up by volunteers and help from our Public Works Department, so thank you to them. And really nice ceremony where we had our Assembly member and State Senator come and speak as well, so thank you. We also had the employee appreciation. Really appreciate that and all the volunteer and effort that went into that. So I believe it was Melissa and John Pope that really took the yeoman's work on that. So well done. I'm still enjoying watching Melissa do a Western accent. So that was phenomenal. And then the Orange County Sheriff came and spoke last night at a town hall that I moderated with, in partnership with the Newport Beach Foundation to talk about fentanyl awareness in our community. Really solid turnout. We had it video recorded, so we'll make sure we get it up and running for people to catch it who weren't able to make it. Two quick things. The Newport Beach Historical Society has their ribbon cutting at 6 p.m. on Friday. And then 4th of July, we have we have a lot of big events happening, but the city's version is the 13th annual 4th of July is for Families event. The bike parade and just generally walking parade is going to start at 9 a.m. And I look forward to being there, followed by a community festival at 9:30 at Channel Place Park. And then don't forget about the American Legion celebrating their 100th anniversary with hopefully 100 boats in their parade. All right. Let's go ahead with Madam Clerk.
This is the time in which council members may pull items from the consent calendar for discussion. Those are items 1 through 12. Public comments are also invited on consent calendar items. Speakers must limit comments to 3 minutes. Before speaking, please state your name for the record. If any item is removed from the consent calendar by a council member, members of the public are invited to speak on each item for up to 3 minutes per item. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine and will all be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. Council members have received detailed staff reports on each of the items recommending an action. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time the City Council votes on the motion unless members of the City Council request specific items to be discussed and are removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
All right. Do we have any items to pull or other comments to be made? Councilmember Kleiman?
I have none.
Councilmember Blum?
I have none.
Councilmember Avery?
Done.
Councilmember Weigand?
Nope.
Councilmember Grant?
I need to recuse from item 13 due to my residential real property interest.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem?
I have to recuse item number 4 because of real property with the Pacific Club. But is 13 on the consent calendar?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. It's not consent. I'll do that later.
Yeah, but I'll recuse myself from item 4 because of real property interest at the Pacific Club.
All right. I'll note the same recusal then. All right. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. I move the consent calendar with the amendments to item number 1, the minutes, and recusal by myself and Mayor O'Neill to item number 4.
All right. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Avery. Do we have any public comments on the consent calendar? All right. Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously, 7-0.
All right. Madam Clerk?
Public comments are invited on non-agenda items generally considered to be within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Speakers must limit comments to 3 minutes. Before speaking, please state your name for the record.
All right. Do we have any public comments on non-agenda items?
Mayor O'Neill, members of the council, my name is Jim Mosier. In the absence of a study session this afternoon, it looks like you're going to have a very short meeting. And so I just wanted to suggest that I do believe there are multiple issues before the city that would benefit from more public discussion in a study session format, at least. 3 of them come to my mind. Number 1, and most important, as at your second meeting in July, you're going to be asked to make some very important decisions about implementing our housing obligations. Among those, putting a ballot measure on the November ballot for the voters of Newport Beach to vote on. As I tried to explain in writing, it's not clear at this point exactly how that measure will be worded or how the voters will be asked to vote on it. And that seems to me to be much too important an issue for you to see that language just 5 days before you have to vote on it. So I would hope at your next meeting you could have a study session to consider your options available to you and what the staff suggestion will be when it comes up at that second meeting. I think you need that preparation. Second important issue looming before you that you've heard many times about is changing the rent structure for moorings in the harbor. And before you can make an intelligent vote on that, I really think, as I kind of alluded to at your last meeting, you need to hold a study session to review the current total tideland rent structure in the harbor, why and how different uses have been assigned different rents currently, and how they got on discombobulated, unsynchronized update schedules, and whether it's really proper to update one without looking at them all as a whole. And then the third issue, which the mayor brought up at the last meeting, which I didn't know needed clarification, but seems to need discussion, is what role you're expecting the General Plan Update Advisory Committee to be playing in the future. That committee is going from its phase 1 of background information, I understand, to phase 2, where it understood it is supposed to be proposing policies in a new updated general plan, but we seem to have direction from the mayor. Perhaps that's not our role. So is that advisory committee supposed to be proposing new policies, or is it simply to act as a kind of a community focus group that will comment on policies recommended by staff or city commissions? I think the role of that advisory committee, perhaps most of you did not participate in setting that up, needs to be reviewed. And I'm sure there are countless other subjects that would be good for study session discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public speakers? All right, bring it back. Okay, come on up. Anyone else planning? Come on up. Okay.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. My name is Luca Shikori. I'm a resident of Newport Beach, along with the policy intern at the Office of Orange County Supervisor Katrina Foley. I'm here today to provide the Council and the public a quick update from our office. Just earlier today, the Board of Supervisors approved the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. Supervisor Foley proudly proclaims that this is the most healthy and fiscally well budget since she has been in office, with no significant growth in county costs, but increases in county revenue by $89.5 million from fiscal year 23-24, with projected increases in property tax revenue. This means that in the event of a revenue decline, we will have the funds available to ensure no impact to county services. Supervisor Foley is also proud to share that the new budget secures 3 more positions on the Office of Care and Coordination for Homelessness Prevention Outreach. Reducing homelessness through coordinated health services and housing efforts continues to be a main priority for the supervisor. The new budget also secures overall sustainability improvements, ensuring the majority of new OC public work vehicles are electric and coastal resiliency can be sustained. Last Monday, June 17th, Supervisor Foley met with John Wayne Airport Director Charlene Reynolds to discuss continuing concerns with noise, along with overall improvements and modifications to the airport. Addressing these noise concerns remains a priority to the supervisor. This past weekend, Supervisor Foley sponsored a community marine flare collection event here in Newport Beach. Since flares are categorized as explosives, the safe disposal of them is crucial for public safety and the health and protection of our environment. The county is also moving forward with its climate action plan. Last week, Supervisor Foley held 2 public input meetings in District 5 regarding the plan. It will move forward to the Board of Supervisors in September. As the supervisor says, this climate action plan is not a mandate on individuals or businesses, but instead an inventory and action plan for the county-owned facilities to reach the state requirements for carbon emissions reductions. Please provide feedback, if you have any, at greenoc@ocwr.ocgov.com. Finally, OC Parks continues to hold their summer concert and sunset film series. These events are fun Friday night outings for people of all ages. The series features 9 free concerts and 12 free film screenings. In the next 2 months, in District 5, Flashback Heart Attack will be playing at Mason Regional Park, and the Super Mario Brothers movie will be screened at Laguna de Guel Regional Park. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact me or our office and let us know how we can help. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. All right. Bring it back. So on item number 13, Councilmember Grant, you were declaring a conflict based on real property interest. I'm going to declare the same real property, well, actually not the same real property interest, but a real property interest at a different real estate location. All right. So Mayor Pro Tem, it's yours.
I can handle this. Okay, item number 13, dealing with collection of certain sewer and recycling fees. Wait for them to leave. I was told that we got to get this meeting over in 30 minutes, so I'm working fast. All right, do you guys need a staff report on this? No? Okay. Do we have to
If you can open the public
Okay.
hearing, take
All
any
right,
public
so then no
comment.
staff reports necessary, so we'll go to public comments on this issue. All right, seeing none, I'll look for a motion to approve. All right, Councilman Blom, I have a first, do I have a second? Okay, Councilman Avery. Those all in favor, we'll go to vote. By
Raise
hand?
your hand, all in favor? That's 5002 with Mayor O'Neill and Councilmember Grant recusing themselves. I will go get them.
Terrific, that was good. Thank you for your time.
Well done, sir. All right, we'll go into item number 14, the annual appointments for scheduled board and commission vacancies. Before we go into this, do we have any public comment on this item?
Good afternoon, Adam Leverance. For one vacancy on the Harbor Commission, there are 3 applications in tonight's agenda materials. 2 candidates tell a bit about themselves and share their opinions and thoughts on the state of the harbor. The incumbent relays that he's enjoyed serving for 4 years on the Harbor Commission and mentions that feels rewarded by the things that have been accomplished. If I were deciding which of these 3 candidates to choose, I'd feel remiss if I didn't contemplate some of what has been quote unquote accomplished during the incumbent's tenure. In 2021, out of 11 applicants for Harbor Master, a former Harbor Commissioner was chosen, with the applicant apparent blessing of the City Council or City and City Attorney. And to alleviate any possible conflicts of interest, an agreement was entered into where he would not be involved in discussions or development recommendations related to the use or financial agreements associated with moorings, and that he would advise anyone with input to direct that to the Real Property Administration staff. I've seen various materials sourced from public records recently that show that that agreement has not been abided by. I think that this is not an accomplishment under the current Harbor Commissioner, that's the incumbent. Additionally, 2.5 months have passed since the Harbor Commission recommendation was, quote, forwarded to council. I've requested that and have not seen that. There have been 2 closed sessions regarding significant exposure to litigation. In conjunction, I would take this as indicative that that is also not an accomplishment. Moreover, the current Harbor Commission's unwillingness to compromise with mooring permittees seeking a fair and equitable solution has opened up quite a can of worms. You've now got 2 state agencies that are concerned about residential pier permittees not paying anything for the spaces their boats occupy over public lands, whereas mooring permittees are paying myself like 239% more than a pier permit. And after the last council meeting, I had asked again about whether yacht clubs and Lido Isle Community Association were exempt from these fee increases. Chair Scully had the courtesy to finally approach me on the 12th at the Harbor Commission meeting the next night and say, yes, they are exempted. As I think is well known, Harbor Commissioners are members of the yacht club. Some have residential pier permits. You've got a situation where the people making policy, writing decisions, and voting on policy are conflicted. And the incumbent Harbor Commissioner has been a part of that. And I would encourage you to infuse some new blood into the Harbor Commission. There are 2 other candidates. Both of them seem qualified. I have things I like in both their statements and things that concern me, but my level of concern about the current commission is great. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. All right, we'll bring it back. All right, council, in front of you is a vote sheet. Please note how many you can vote for. Please place X's next to it and then hand it to our clerk.
And just to note that the applicants must receive 4 votes in order to be appointed. I'll first read the votes for Board of Library Trustees. Councilmember Weigand votes for Jenny Williams. Councilmember Grant, Megan Murray. Councilmember Avery, Jenny Williams. Councilmember Blom, Megan Murray. Councilmember Kleiman, Megan Murray. Mayor Pro Tem Stapleton, Megan Murray. Mayor O'Neill, Megan Murray. So Megan Murray is appointed. For the Building and Fire Board of Appeals, there is only one candidate. There are 2 vacant seats, and everyone voted for. Councilmember Kleiman, did you vote for? Okay. Everyone voted for Kenneth Kasdan. Mayor O'Neill?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for City Arts Commission, there are 2 seats. Councilmember Weigand voted for Heather Ignaton and Vanessa Moore. Councilmember Grant, David Anastos and Heather Ignaton. Councilmember Avery, Heather Ignaton and Vanessa Moore. Councilmember Blom, Heather Ignaton and Vanessa Moore. Councilmember Kleiman, Heather Ignaton and Vanessa Moore. Mayor Pro Tem Stapleton, Heather Ignaton and Vanessa Moore. And Mayor O'Neill, Heather Ignaton and Vanessa Moore. Heather Ignaton and Vanessa Moore have been appointed to the City Arts Commission. Civil Service Board, there are 2 seats. Councilmember Weigand voted for Howard Herzog and Brian Moore. Councilmember Grant, Howard Herzog and Brian Moore. Councilmember Avery, Howard Herzog and Brian Moore. Councilmember Blom, Howard Herzog and Brian Moore. Councilmember Kleiman, Herzog and Brian Moore. Stapleton, Herzog and Brian Moore. And Mayor O'Neill, Herzog and Brian Moore have been reappointed. For Harbor Commission, there is 1 vacancy. Councilmember Weigand votes for Gary Williams. Councilmember Grant, Gary Williams. Councilmember Avery, Gary Williams. Councilmember Blom, Gary Williams. Sorry about that. Councilmember Kleiman, Gary Williams. Mayor Pro Tem Stapleton, Gary Williams. And Mayor O'Neill, Gary Williams. For PB&R, Parks, Beaches, and Recreation, there is 1 opening. Councilmember Weigand votes for Amy Wanch. Councilmember Grant, Drew Teixeira. Councilmember Avery, Robin McGilvery. Councilmember Blom, Amy Wanch. Councilmember Kleiman, Amy Wanch. Mayor Pro Tem Stapleton, Amy Wanch. And Mayor O'Neill, Amy Wanch. So she is the appointee to PB&R. And then we now have Planning Commission. There are 2 vacancies. Councilmember Weigand, Curtis Elmore and Jonathan Langford. Councilmember Grant, Curtis Elmore and Jonathan Langford. Councilmember Avery, Curtis Elmore and Jonathan Langford. Councilmember Blom, Curtis Elmore, Jonathan Langford. Councilmember Kleiman, Curtis Elmore and Jonathan Langford. Mayor Pro Tem Stapleton, Curtis Elmore, Jonathan Langford. And Mayor O'Neill, Curtis Elmore, Jonathan Langford. They are reappointed to Planning Commission. We do not need second votes on any of these.
Okay, congratulations to those who have been appointed, and we sincerely appreciate everyone who applied in. We hope that you'll continue to apply as we go forward. All right, Madam Clerk.
A motion to reconsider the vote on any action taken by the City Council, either this meeting or the previous meeting, may be made only by one of the council members who voted with the prevailing side.
All right, do we have any such motions? No? We stand adjourned. Thank you.